police say he brazenly gunned down a healthcare CEO.
This is one of the most baffling cases we've ever covered here at TMZ.
A shocking caught-on-tape murder that captivated the nation.
Today, we're diving into a deeply unsettling and thought-provoking story. One that challenges us to consider the complexities of human behavior, societal structures, and personal development. This story begins with a shocking event. Luigi Manion, a young and seemingly successful individual, takes the life of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. How do we make sense of such an act? And more importantly, how do we prevent it from happening again? Luigi's background paints a picture of privilege and opportunity. He came from a wealthy family, with a grandfather who was a deca-millionaire. Luigi attended a $40,000 a year private school, earned a bachelor's degree in computer science, and had no criminal record or behavioral flags. Online, his life seemed perfect. Polished photos, vacations abroad, and interest in cutting-edge trends like AI and self-optimization. He appeared to be thriving, building a resume that promised a bright future. But then, he vanished from his social circles for 3 months. When he resurfaced, it was in the headlines for committing a shocking act of violence. The question is, why? What went wrong in the life of someone who seemed to have it all? Experts are now examining this case, searching for patterns that could help prevent such instances. What signs were missed? What interventions might have made a difference? Tony Robbins offers a unique perspective on the underlying factors.
The story you told is not a complete story.
Okay.
What's missing is the time which they've been looking for him. His mother's not spoken to him in almost a year and a half. They've been trying to find him. The injury that he had. Also, what he was like in college, what actually happened after he went to prep school to college, where he became radicalized. It's very obvious, right? He hated capitalism. He was able to hate capitalism, think about this, because he never went through the process of having to earn. Everything was given to him. So he had everything he could ever dream of. So capitalism looks ugly to someone who's never tried to do it. There's these levels of spiritual development that you may be familiar with that Dr. Graves created back in the 60s when it looked like the world was coming apart. He actually saw a pattern in humanity as a whole. And he saw a pattern in our evolution of our spiritual development, not religious development, but spiritual development. And he saw it as an evolution of caring. Like we all start out caring about ourselves. You say as a baby loving, as long as you give them what they want, otherwise they scream, right?
Tony explains a model of human development called spiral dynamics, created by Dr. Clare Graves in the 1960s. This framework helps us understand the stages of consciousness that individuals and societies go through.
Each level of consciousness eventually bumps into its limits. Then there's yellow, where yellow is, I can use all these levels depending upon what I need.
Is one above the other? Because I'm looking at it right now, Tony.
Yes.
The green, orange, it says capitalism, right?
Yes.
Achievement.
Or science. That's correct.
Or science, right.
That's
And then 6 is ecology.
That's right.
You know,
About it
it's
being equal,
fair, everything
elegant.
equal, civil,
That's
right.
right.
And
And
then
then
yellow, go ahead.
Yellow is where you're an integrator, where you think because if I ask you which one of these is most important, green people say green's most important. Orange people say green people can't get anything done because they try to make a decision with a circle. We're most important. Blue people say we know the rules. You guys are violating God. So when you understand these distinctions, and I'm doing very fast right now.
Where's the goal to be, though? Where do you want to be?
Your goal should be able to integrate them all. There's an ultimate level above that, which they call turquoise, which is where you feel everything, every creature, every human. Think of it this way. We evolved from focusing on ourselves to eventually we're ethnocentric. We care about our circle. On the block, you can't just get what you want. Now you got to please the other kids to get along, right? Or other Christians or other Jews or other Muslims or whatever it is. Then we evolved to no, everyone's our customer and we're going to please everybody, orange. We evolved to green as we're all equal, right? We're all the same. When someone is at this yellow stage, they go, well, each of these have their place. Sometimes blue is the right thing. If we're in a fire and I'm in a room of 20,000 people, I'm probably going to go red to get people the hell out of the building. If I'm going to go be with a friend, I'm going to be green. I'm not going to be orange negotiating. You do this, I'll do that. That's not a friendship. So being able to flex these helps you. And you also understand why people get in conflicts then. Because you got somebody whose whole consciousness is, we're all going to be the same, and someone else is like, without hierarchy, there's no biology.
Tony highlights that growth isn't about staying in one stage, but about integrating the lessons from all levels. He explains how each stage plays a role in different situations.
No, it's so interesting you're saying this, because to me, going back to Luigi Manion, right? If you go back to that chart of power versus force, to me, this was life-changing the first time I read this, because when I looked at this, I thought about people in my life, right? Shame at the lowest level, guilt, apathy, grief. You're like, oh my God, these are all bad qualities for you. And you're living in the face of force and fear, desire, anger. By the way, you probably, I think you recommended this, or Oprah talked about this on her show, but I don't know who it was. But anyways, I got my hands on this.
It's a great book. But what I want to tell you with him, for example, is so think about this.
How do you prevent the future, the next one?
But here's what I want you to understand. He grew up in an orange environment.
Can you go back to that?
Orange is, father was achievement, grandfather sent to millionaire, sent to, he didn't have to earn it.
Achievement, yeah.
He didn't have to do any of it. He never went through the stages of blue and orange. He got to go straight to green, which is everything's equal. This is unfair.
That's right.
And by the way, green, when it's not, imagine this, you can go to purple and feel everything,
right?
But you won't stay there unless you have a foundation. It's a momentary state.
I got it.
So here's where he is. He never built the orange. He took it for granted. So he goes to green. And by the way, he never really got over his red.
There's a lot of those guys right now, Tony.
Well, think of it this way. If you thought about Vietnam, there were a lot of people that were saying, I'm not going overseas. Right. But the ones that shot people, burned down buildings, they were red pretending they were green. Because green is socially acceptable. This kid, there are a lot of people in green that are celebrating this kid killing people.
That's right.
They're red. Their psychology is red. They're pretending they're egalitarian, but they really are, I want what I want the way I want it.
Wow.
But it's socially acceptable. It's the same way that people do virtue
signaling. And red is the warlord? Is that what it is? The gang culture?
Or a 2-year-old, same thing.
That's
or a rock star, right? Somebody, it's like, it's my way or the highway. I get what I want, whether it serves you or not. So those red people say, oh, the company turned down. Yeah, the company may have done some terrible things. I don't know the absolute numbers. I don't know all the details. I don't think anybody really does. But then you address that in a different way. That's what a court system's for. That's what legislation's for. That's what options are for of those natures. But this person actually just cold-blooded murder guy who has children and kids, and he's being celebrated by people. And by the way, the guy that actually was trying to save people's lives on the subway was treated like he was a criminal. That's how crazy our society's become. But I think it's balancing out. It sure feels.
Luigi's story is a tragic reminder of the importance of balanced development. It challenges us to reflect on how we nurture growth in ourselves and others. As Tony explains, leadership begins with understanding what influences people, their values, fears, and aspirations.
That's a little different.
Yeah. So, but here's where this is useful. If I'm talking with you and you keep going, this is right or wrong. I was just doing this seminar the other day, and this person's like, this is right, that's wrong, this is how it is, and all this tension, I can see they're in blue. If they've ever been to a higher level, maybe I can get them there. But I'm not going to get them there by saying, kumbaya, let's all be green. They're not going to respond to it. They know what's right and what's wrong. When you know where people are, that's when you're able to start. Listen, what makes you a leader? The ability to influence the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the actions of another person, ideally with integrity if you're going to be a positive leader, right? You can only do that if you understand to influence somebody, you got to know what already influences them. And so I'm studying all the things that influence them, what they value, what they need, what their fears are, what their strengths are, so that I can help them continue to grow in what they want for their life, not what I think they should.
This isn't just about Luigi Manion or Brian Thompson. It's about all of us. It's a call to action for society to better understand human behavior and provide the support needed to navigate life's challenges. Together, we can work toward a future that prioritizes growth, empathy, and understanding.